Star Wars has a few characters who've transcended the ordinary and entered the realm of legends. Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Yoda, and the character we'll be talking about today, Glup Shitto. You may be wondering, well, I've heard the name Glup Shitto before, but I don't know who he is. Is he one of those background characters in one of the Star Wars movies? We'll talk about all that and more in today's Star Wars video. Hey guys, this is Eckhart's Letter. Hello and welcome to another video. And yes, you heard right in the introduction. Today we're talking about the legend of Glup Shitto. Now, if you spent any time online in Star Wars spaces, you've probably read the name Glup Shitto before, but you may not be familiar with who the character is. And that's because Glup Shitto, believe it or not, is not actually a character from Star Wars movies. Rather, he's a bit of referential fun poked at the Star Wars community. It all goes back to a post by Tumblr user Jabber. On September 3rd of 2020, they wrote, "Every time a new Star Wars movie or show is announced, all the fans are like, OMG, Glup Shitto is back, crying face, crying face, crying face." Unsurprisingly, this post absolutely blew up. Unfortunately, the engagements are hidden, but it got at least 33,000 notes, which is sort of Tumblr's version of comments, likes, and shares. But more than just this post, Glup Shitto absolutely spread across the internet. For good reason. The Glup Shitto meme is actually completely on the nose. When I first saw it, I actually laughed out loud, and I'll explain why for those who don't understand. Glup Shitto is funny because it satirizes some of the most ridiculous but fun aspects of the Star Wars fandom. The first most obvious being that Star Wars characters frequently have incredibly strange and bizarre names. We've got pod racers named Dud Bolt. There's Lak Shiv Rak, who of course is the Shistavanian Wolfman. There's the Jizz playing, and yes, that's the name of the music, musicians, Fig Grandan and the modal nodes. And one of my personal favorites, Elan Sleaze Bagano. I mean, George Lucas even called the fish people Mon Calamari. But the fact that Star Wars has lots of funny names is only actually a portion of the joke here. I think the thing it's really satirizing is the fact that hardcore Star Wars fans develop these crazy attachments to these ridiculous background characters, often weird aliens or whatever else, who mean nothing to the average Star Wars fan. Then of course they freak out when the character reappears. I think there's a really good recent example of this from the Book of Boba Fett, and that would be one of my favorite background characters, Max Rebo. Now, I watched Return of the Jedi about 30,000 times in my youth, so I know every scene that blue elephant man is in, and I fell in love with the character as a kid. To the average person, though, Max Rebo is just sort of window dressing for Jabba's palace, and they probably wouldn't even notice him when he's featured in the Book of Boba Fett. So that's a Glup Shitto-like character in my opinion. He even does have the sort of funny name. Another good example, arguably, is Admiral Akbar. Now, as hardcore Star Wars fans, a lot of us think that most people probably know who Admiral Akbar was, and I actually tested this with my family the other day. I was over there for my birthday dinner, and I asked everybody in my family if they knew who Admiral Akbar was. They were all Star Wars fans, or at least have seen the movie numerous times, and I was surprised because they recognized what he looked like, but they didn't know who the name Admiral Akbar was. I think that ties into another element of the Glup Shitto thing, and that's the fact that we know way too much from reading Wikipedia or the novels or whatever else about these background characters in Star Wars. Quite famously gives all of its fun aliens, backstories, and more. Another example would be Pondo Baba and Dr. Evazan's appearance in Rogue One, and that's a thing where like even the average fan may recognize them, but if you're a nerd like me, you might look over to your wife and say, "Hey, that's Pondo Baba," and to her you might as well be calling him Glup Shitto for all it's worth. I asked my friend Corey if he could think of any examples of this, and he gave me an interesting one: gonk droids. Now, of course, gonk droids aren't individuals, at least that's not what they're called individually, but hardcore Star Wars fans often have weird affinities for gonk droids, and I personally include myself in this. And that's probably a bit confusing for less hardcore fans or non-fans. On the more serious side, he also mentioned, for example, X-Wing pilots. And I'm also going to extend that by saying, as the expanded universe or even things like the Clone Wars TV show are brought brought more into the mainstream, the sort of broadness of Glup Shittos increases, which I personally couldn't be happier with. One final question though, if you could choose one of your Glup Shittos to reappear in Star Wars, i.e. one of your weird favorite background characters, maybe an obscure character who you know too much about, who would it be? I've got a couple. I think my first choice would be Sayelt Murray, otherwise known as Yak Face. Probably my favorite Star Wars alien design from the original trilogy, just because of how completely hilarious he is. Another one though, and this is one that I do see quite a bit, would be Treadwell droids. I get really excited when I see them. I don't know why, I just really like Treadwell droids. But guys, that's all for today. Definitely a different video. Hope you enjoyed it. Are there other aspects of Star Wars fandom you'd like to see explored on this channel? Let me know all of that and more down below. Till next time, be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.